Hi all, this is Soumya. I have 8+ years of experience in MNC with different domain. Today I'm going to explain about the document splitting. Is my screen is visible?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, madam.
Okay, thanks. Okay, today we'll go with the document splitting. We have a concept of document splitting in SAP FICO, where what is document splitting is whenever there are multiple dimensions in the document, system will splits up the line items accordingly to the dimension involved in the transaction. And there are 3 types of document splitting. We have active splitting, passive
Sorry to
splitting.
interrupt. Yeah, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you just elaborate like the meaning you said the document splitting? Can you just elaborate in like some
With the examples you're telling?
Yeah, I mean example, okay, but something which you written in the meaning here. If you little bit elaborate, that will be better.
Okay. Okay, fine. Is it fine now? I'll share the document at the end. It's only 4 tabs
Okay.
are there. Yeah. Is it fine now?
Some data was hiding in between.
Yeah. I will show you.
Okay. You can make the full screen.
It is in full screen for me.
Okay, I mean like PPT view, full screen.
Okay.
Okay, you go ahead like as you wish.
Okay, I'll share the document anyway.
Okay.
Okay, fine, thanks. Yeah, document splitting is nothing but whenever there are multiple dimensions in the document, system will split up the line items according to the dimension involved in the transaction. So we have 3 types of document splitting, that is active splitting, passive splitting, and zero balancing splitting. In active splitting, the document is split according to the SAP ERP predefined rules. SAP almost support all the business processes transactions. But if it does not suit to any requirement, then the own splitting rule can be created in the active splitting. But coming to passive splitting, the type of splitting is mostly occurs when the payment transaction is posted for a vendor invoice. Now system splits the payment document based on the how the vendor invoice was split in place already. So in passive splitting, only vendor invoice it is going to split. Active splitting, all the documents with its own rule. Coming to zero balance splitting, when we have activate zero balance clearing account system checks whether the balance of account assignment object is 0 after document splitting. If it is not matched, it is not 0, then the system posts the variance amount to the zero balance account. In this, it will create a zero balance account. The SAP system will create a zero balance account while doing the splitting. We have few examples, invoice examples for active split and passive splitting. The first invoice is active splitting example. Invoice against expenses. Expenses account segment 1, debtor 1000, and expenses account segment 2, debtor 1000 to vendor account 2000. So we have 2 expenses segments here, 1 and 2. The vendor account in total is 2000. In general ledger view, the document splitting expenses account segment 1 debtor 1000 to vendor account segment 1 account 1000. This is active splitting. Next one, expenses account segment 2 debtor 1000 to vendor account segment 2 account 1000. This is active splitting. Okay, coming to the passive splitting, the below example payment, it is an example for passive splitting. Vendor account debtor 2000 to bank account 2000. Document splitting in general ledger view is vendor account debtor segment 1000 to bank account segment 1000. Vendor account debtor segment 2000, the bank account segment 2000. This is the example for passive splitting. So we have few more example scenarios. I'll explain the scenario about the document splitting. The concept can be explained of document splitting with the help of one of the most basic business transaction as vendor invoice. Suppose vendor invoice as below, which consists of two expenses line items is 10,000 in total with 1,000 of tax component with sum of 11,000. So vendor invoice here is 11,000. Something happened. Okay, vendor invoice is 11,000 here with two line items expenses, that is says 10,000 and 1,000 tax. So expenses item 1 8,000 where it is assigned to profit center X and expenses 2 for 2,000 where it is assigned to profit center Y. But this 1,000 tax component is not assigned to any of the profit center. So here it is difficult to split the document. We have some amount of 11,000 where it is difficult to split the document because we don't know 1,000 how much part of tax is going for a profit center Y and how much part of 1,000 is going for a profit center Y. So below is the calculation. This is the like table vendor account sum of 11,000. Two expenses, one is 8,000, expenses two is 2,000. This is the profit center X and Y. Input tax 1,000. So now if we look at the bill above, 10,000 is divided with 80 and 20%. In total of 10,000 is divided into 80 and 20%. So we have to make this 1,000 tax also. We have to divide the 1,000 in 80 and 20%. So vendor account 11,000 into 80% and 20%. Profit X will be 8,800. 11,000 into 80% will be 8,800 profit center X. 11,000 into 20% is 2,200 for profit center Y. In the same way, we have to go for input tax 1,000. We have to give 80% and 20%. That is 800 for profit center X and 200 for profit center Y. So coming to this table, vendor account is 8,800, profit center X, expenses 1 is 8,000, input tax is 800, where input tax is divided to profit center X and Y with 800 and 200. This is how the document split will happen. This is how the system will split the documents. So second one, vendor account is 2,200, expenses 2 is 2,000, input tax is 200. So I explained you about the passive splitting, active splitting, and zero balance splitting, and the same definition is here also. So if we see the example in the SAP system, let us see the actual example from system of document splitting for vendor invoice. If we are posting an invoice in FB60 with two different expenses line item as below with two different cost centers. As I now, system has derived the profit center from its cost center mentioned in line item. That is, see vendor account. This is the vendor. Invoice date, posting date, references splitting example, 11,000 in total. And input tax. Calculate tax, we have to tick the calculate tax. So this is office expenses or supply is 2,000 and postage is 8,000 with two different cost centers. With two different cost center and profit center. So if we stimulate this document, this is how it looks like. Vendor electronic components like vendor account is 11,000, office supplies is 2,000, postage is 8,000 and input tax is 1,000. If we stimulate, if we go by document stimulate general ledger, then document split, we can see the document split. Any doubts here? I think some confusion. Okay.
Yeah, I think
We post the
okay and sub. The overall idea is okay, but as you said, like while doing the bit confusion, I mean, I can say entry level, but
sir.
overall concept is understood.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Okay. If we post the document invoice and if we stimulate in normal way, the vendor invoice will be like this. But if we go back and stimulate with general ledger, we can see the document split, how the document has been splitted. Means how the tax 1,000 has been splitted to expenses 1 and expenses 2. This is how we see here. So to see that, we should go for document, simulate general ledger. Then this is how it looks like.
It means when we are giving the invoice details, I mean invoice inputs in the FB60, so we can give only profit center and cost center in the line item level only, because we are not able to give the even tax related line item. We are not giving anywhere profit center and cost center, and even when we don't have any option to give there, so that it is useful,
we
right?
tick mark the calculate tax, right?
That's okay, but we are not splitting, right?
We are
Like,
not
see, for
splitting
example, if you
anything, but system will split the document.
1 minute. Shall I add a few points here?
Yeah, please.
Actually, when we activate the document splitting, we activate it. We can, based on the certain characteristics, we activate the document splitting. That maybe those characteristics are profit center, either or business area or segment level. So when we want to split the line items based on these characteristics, then I mean, these characteristics, when we post the document, we have to do some configurations. As Soumya explained already, like active splitting, passive splitting, and zero balancing. So these are the types of the various like types of the document splittings. In the active splitting, we assign the document types to the predefined rules in the system. So system automatically, when we post the item in the system, then system automatically split the line item. For example, like taxes, we need not to do anything for that. as we assign the that vendor when I mean like vendor document type and customer document type and other various document types to the predefined rules, system based on that system will split the tax item based as per those rules for each profit center level. Similarly, at the time of the passive splitting, we need not to give anything. System inherit those rules from the active splitting. For example, like at the time of the posting, system will use the document splitting rules from the active splitting. Then at this time of the clearing, system based on the clearing document type, system will split the line items. If in case at the profit center level, the line items are not debit and credit line items are not equal. In that case, the zero balance line item will help to balance these two line items, debit and credit line items.
Yeah, that's correct. I am okay with, like, even Soumya what explained. Yes, I have understood, but I'm just elaborating, like, while giving the invoice, some more points I'm just added. But what she's saying, like, exactly correct. And you are giving, like, outlet. Yes, clear.
Yes, then what is
No, no doubt here. No doubt here. I'm just giving some more my view of example. That's it.
okay.
That's it.
Okay.
Otherwise, well.
Okay, fine. Shall I continue?
Yeah, please.
Okay, thanks. So this is how after stimulate general ledger view, this is how it looks like. This is active splitting at the time of invoice. So expenses, vendor account is divided in 80% and 20%, that is 8,800. Postage is 8,000, input tax is 800. Again, coming for the next expenses to expense, vendor account is 2,200. Expenses to, that is office supplies, is 2,000 and input tax is 200. This is how active split is happening. Okay, zero balance splitting. Zero balance splitting, while we post the transaction via FP50, that is general ledger. Okay, here office supplies debit 8,000, office supplies credit 8,000. So both are same general ledger. We are doing debit and credit. In this case, like we don't have next line item, which is making it zero. So in this case, when we go for stimulate with general ledger view, here automatically system will create a zero balance clearing account for debit item and credit item. See, office supplies 8,000 to posting is 50 and 40 and 50 to zero balance clearing account 8,000. Here zero balancing clearing account has been created from the system. Okay, this is the configuration of document splitting. So path is SPRO, IMG, financial accounting, general ledger accounting new, business transaction, document splitting, classify general ledger accounts for document splitting. Here in this step, GL are classified according to the item category, according to the business transaction nature. It is recommended that instead of assigned item category to each individual general ledger account, Try maintaining the item category for range of general ledger account. So we'll give account from and to. This is general ledger. And category. Which category and description. Cash account, balance sheet account, expenses, revenue, those things. Second category is classified document type for document splitting. That is the path is SPRO, IMG, financial accounting new, general ledger accounting new, business transaction, document splitting, classified document type of document splitting. In this step, the business transaction and business transaction variant is assigned to documents type. Now, almost every financial transaction is considered for document splitting. Define zero balance clearing account. In these steps, we have to define the zero balance clearing account, which will be used for generate and balance out financial entry when it is not possible to balance out at its own, as we have seen this example earlier. I'm not going in deep of the configuration, just main points. I'm just telling what we'll do in those configuration. Define document splitting characteristics for general ledger accounting. SPRO, IMG, financial accounting new, general ledger accounting new, business transaction, document splitting. Define document splitting characteristics for general ledger accounts. And this is the one of the most important configuration step in document splitting. In this step, we have to define the splitting characteristics. Additionally, you can define whether this should be zero balance and mandatory. Fifth configuration is edit constructs for non-assigned process. In this step, the constants are defined with the help of assign the default account assignment when is not able to derive from any of the sources. The last configuration is activate document splitting. In this, we need to activate the document splitting. Yeah, these are the concept when they ask in the interview question, we can go in this way. That's it from my end. I just explained this document splitting as per the interview point.